My name's Shayna, and this is In the Wake TV. And today we have Jasmine Rice. How are you feeling about being a finalist?
It feels incredible. It feels unreal. It feels like all my dreams are coming true. It's just such an honor, honestly, because as the first Korean American and a drag performer to make it to the finals, I think this is the first time in BGT history to ever uh, make it as a drag performer. It is truly just crazy that I'm the one who's like breaking the glass ceiling, as you say it, or something like that. Because the
Yeah, I
only thing
mean,
I'm breaking is my scale when I'm every time I get on it. But like, it's truly crazy.
I must say, loved your reveal and outfit on. It was your first appearance with
Hmm.
the light blue dress when they had the curtain reveal.
Yeah.
What was your thought process for that? Like, did you want people to hear your voice before they saw you?
We wanted to try to make it as like grand and operatic as possible. I feel like a lot of the times when they see a drag performer on stage or someone like me in my field, an entertainer on stage, they can have a preconceived notion. So we just really wanted to make sure that they concentrate on the talent before they prejudge what they're going to see. So I think that that surprise element really helped us out big time, and to show people like, oh, wait, this person is actually impressive, because I'm a lot for the eyes. Okay, there are a lot of things going on to take in. So yeah, that was the whole purpose of the reveal.
How'd you get on the stage with that dress? Like, it looked like it was about 5 feet wide.
They actually had to completely open the backstage area. It's like a LED screen, so they completely like opened it up for me just for me to scoot in and get settled in behind the curtain.
Like, I wondered how you got out there. I was like, they had to open up the back, like, because the
Yeah,
dress was huge, but it's so pretty.
thank you. I was literally backing up and it was going beep, beep, beep.
I do wonder how you negotiate spaces when you can't see how
Yeah.
much you protrude in the back. Like, you have, because it was a train too, was there
Yeah,
not?
there was a giant train.
Yeah, I'm like, how do you not get stepped on and bump into everything? But honestly, worth it. Was that a
Thank you.
corset in the middle on the
Yeah,
top
everything
half?
was corseted. Everything is corseted.
Looks so nice.
Thank you.
Not off topic or anything, but I am curious, like, about how your look was built
Hmm.
in general, because most queens tend to have like a story of how they got to their general look. And I'm kind of curious because I noticed that you're from New York. You
Hmm.
went to Juilliard, which,
Yeah.
wow, deeply impressed. So, like, how did that inform how you got to the look you have today?
Honestly, ever since I was a little kid, I loved playing dress up and playing make believe. And my parents really allowed me, because I grew up in the countryside of Korea. So they really let me flourish in that environment, even though it was very conservative. And I think it still is somewhat very conservative back in Korea. I was allowed to play in my mother's skirts, my grandmother's fur coats, and wrap the duvet around me like it was a giant ball gown. So now I'm trying to make those fantasies come to life, make those things that I thought was impossible. When not at the time, when I was a kid, I think anything was possible. But as we grow up, as we age and mature, we are, I think, conditioned to think those fantasies and all the creativities that you had as a child are actually not reality and not possible. Cut to, it's a reality right now. So that's usually how I come up with the concepts and the outfits and the performance and all of that stuff. And that's why I love opera, because I fell in love with opera because of how grand and dramatic and emotional and fabulous it was.
I was talking to your publicist before we started the interview and was talking about your general like appeal. And I was like, Jasmine is like the definition of camp, like, because you have these two thought process of anachronistic places like the classical musical world and then like drag, and you act and people treat them like they are two things that are way far away from each other. But theater
Mm-mm.
is so freaking verbose and over the top because you're acting for people in the cheap seats in the back. When you smack those things together, I don't see how you can't have camp.
I mean, honestly, I feel like everything is kind of campy in our world. It's just how we view it.
Mhm.
Just like how most of the people sometimes who are opposed to drag entertainers, they are somehow fine with Mrs. Doubtfire and Robin Williams
Exactly.
being in full drag, or going to a play or going to opera and seeing people in crazy makeups and costume. It's okay. And for a clown who has complete white face and have normal features blow up animal balloons at a child's party, but a drag queen story hour is inappropriate.
Which is crazy.
I think doesn't make sense. But if you go look at a construction worker down the street, they're wearing a neon vest with a neon hat with all those tools around their waist, and they're hot. That is very, very campy. Like a
It
norm,
is. There's a camp, like, not for nothing. Like, especially like in the '80s, like gay men were literally dressing up as uber straight archetypes as a joke.
Camp,
And
camp. Even these finance bros with their vests and their brown shoes with their black socks and all those. That's very, very campy. So I think it really depends on how people view it and how open they are to accepting drag as a true art form. Because people don't understand, a lot of drag artists, especially nowadays, they have full on BFA degrees. I mean, I don't have a BFA. I have, what do you call it? A BM, bachelor in music, but a lot of these people are actually trained to be on stage and they choose their art form to be drag. So I think it is not that different, and combining so many different art forms and tools that we have learned through life and making it special to be presented on stage is truly magical.
oh, I agree with you, because there's so many performance spaces where women weren't allowed for like centuries, and feminine men took that position. Heck, isn't like in like China, like opera, there's still men who perform as women. Like,
Yeah, I
that's
mean, I think
still a thing.
as long as theater has been alive, I mean, society has been so misogynistic to begin with. Um, but as far as I can remember throughout history, wherever there was a theater, because at the time women were not allowed to hold positions or be in power,
Mhm.
in certain places of the world, like in Egypt, they had queens for how many, years and stuff like that. So, not speaking for the whole world, for the majority of the world, Chinese opera, kabuki theater, in
Mhm.
Japan, Korea, the same thing. Even in England, Shakespeare, women were not allowed to be on stage, so you had
At
to be
all.
men playing female roles.
Yep.
Um,
Romeo and Juliet was originally very gay.
yeah, so I think it's just interesting to me how people can somehow divide those two worlds and be like, well, that's different. It's actually not that different.
No,
It's the same thing.
because you don't necessarily present this way all the time. Like,
No.
and most drag performers do not dress in drag when they're not performing or being paid.
But also, even so, what's the problem? I think I look fabulous, and
You
people
look
need more
great.
fabulosity in the world
Honestly, I
anyway.
wish I could do my makeup like what you got going on. Like, I
What
wish I could.
makeup?
She over here, like, I woke up this way. Like, yeah, no, I could never get my. I wish I could get that kind of crease going with my, um, cat eye. I
Mhm.
wish, but I have not. I've not cultivated such skills yet. I'm gonna get there. I'm at a point
I
where
believe
I
you.
don't
You know,
have young
practice
kids
makes
anymore.
perfect.
I've been working on making sure my wings are looking nice, getting there. Your step is like step 10, and I'm like on step 3, but I'm gonna get there.
Thank you.
But yeah, like right now, and it must be so difficult because right now we are living in a time where your particular art form is very much under attack. And I feel like it's been a deep mischaracterization of who you guys are as performers. And I'm curious, so what would you tell other people about what drag is?
To me, drag is inspirational for me, drag is what really gave me hope at a time when I was at lost. Drag is truly a therapy for me. Drag is just everything in my life. I would have to say, if anyone has a problem with drag entertainers or drag performers, They should have problems with the current sitting president because he's the biggest drag queen I've ever met in my life. He doesn't even know how to match his foundation color to his skin tone. I
Oh, that's
mean,
embarrassing.
it's I don't understand how it's okay for someone like that to be in drag because for me that's drag,
I mean,
honey.
he certainly
That
cosplays as a man.
that made in China necktie Trump label is as draggy as it comes.
I
So I just don't
mean,
understand how they separate it. I think it's just literally they are looking for a scapegoat to whatever issues that they're having in their life, and they
oh, it's a
want to.
distraction for sure.
It's complete distraction. I mean, we don't even. I believe we make 0.01% or 0.1% of the population. Like,
It's about the same as the amount of trans people who exist.
we
I
are
mean, that's,
not the problem. Also, the
you could,
last time I checked, drag queens don't go into straight people's uh spaces. Most of the times when you go out to a gay bar, it's usually straight people coming into queer spaces to see what's really fun because we do
right.
have more fun. We do celebrate life. We love each other hard, celebrate each other hard.
Gay pubs are so
And
much more fun.
yeah, so I mean, it's very, very difficult. And I think just, you know, that's why I think education is so important. And I think I'm so incredibly honored to be on such a big world platform, one of the biggest platforms in the world, to showcase people that I am not actually that different. You could definitely watch me and enjoy me being on stage and really appreciate this art form that I try to do my very best. I'm continuously learning and evolving every single day, but it's just truly an art form. Now, is there different aspects to this art form? Sure, there are people who do more of Disney, Hello Kitty, PG-13 Disney Channel drag, where they do drag queen storytime hour. There are people who do more risque, burlesque performers, and there are people who do all of that. Same thing with music. There's rap, hip hop, who may not be suited for children. There are also classical music. But let me just say this. People don't understand where opera comes from. Opera and classical music was the hip hop, R&B, pop, country music, and the rock stars of the day. If you don't know the history of opera, in opera back in the day, that's where people used to do risque stuff in the private boxes and in the theater. Like that was their nightclub. That was their club where they partied hard. So for people to somehow separate opera into this high level of classical music, it's just I think ridiculous because classical music just means classical music because it was during the classical time, not because somehow it is elevated to a different degree of art.
I mean, yes, because I mean, you had oh god, what's his name? Began with an L. He has that mania named after him. Is that Wish I can remember his name because he was like the first like legit rock star, but he was a classical musician. People used to go crazy at his concerts, and but people now would think because he like existed around the same time as Wagner. He was a little before,
Mm-hmm.
and like think like Elvis, women wanting to throw their panties on the stage. Like
Yeah.
that's where he was at. Like that's how people were wild about his music. And that was like the, I don't know, like 16th century version of like the Elvis thing that would happen later. And it's like, it's all different generations. Like, yeah, to you, this seems stuffy and classical, but at the time, this was electric.
That was like Handel was a rock star. Handel was Rolling
Yes.
Stone. Like Bach was DJ
Like,
Khaled. Like people
like
don't understand.
Mozart was a madman. People don't even understand that he was crazy. Right? He liked to write
Partying, talking about partying, he was a
yes,
party
all
animal.
day, all night. That was part of the reason why Salieri kind of looked at him a little funny because he was like, "Wait, I work hard, man. You're
Yeah.
playing." But like, yes, like music, just because it's old does not mean it's stuff. I remember when I was younger, I want to say about 10, I had a moment where I felt real into opera. And I think it's because I watched something on PBS because they were probably having some sort of special, and you were playing like full operas. One super long. Didn't realize how long opera was.
Yeah.
I think also what people mix up is because it's not in a language that they speak most of the time. Because if you're English and watching it, or you're American watching it, you don't speak those. You probably don't speak Italian. Okay, this is going to sound like a bit of a conspiracy theory on my part, but I kind of blame the French because they kind of instituted opera as part of like the thing that the upper class did. When it originally invented in Italy, it wasn't an upper class thing.
Well,
French
I
did
think it became an upper class thing because
Yeah.
entertainment in general, even nowadays, I mean, look at the Taylor Swift tickets and Beyonce tickets and Lady
Yeah.
Gaga tickets. Like, it was just very expensive to see entertainment, especially
Right.
back then because they didn't have TVs or iPhones
Once you
or.
get to the higher level, when you have large crowds, it's the expense is following. Even
Yeah.
if it's not there at the beginning, it's chasing you.
Yeah. So that's why I think it became even more separated. But like I said, like all those classical amazing singers back in the day, they were the Beyoncés, Rihannas, and
Yeah. I
all
mean,
of them.
the same people who think that opera is only for the upper class or for like snooty people are the same people who think Shakespeare is super high class. Shakespeare was lowest common denominator when it came out. Like when
And the
he wrote it,
storyline, if you actually pay
it's
attention to those,
so
do
it's
you
so
know how
soap opera.
taboo it is?
It's so soap opera. So
That's what I don't understand. It's like if you go look at the opera and
perspective.
if you go, yeah, the perspective of it. It's like if you go see opera and all those other classical theater, if you actually pay attention, they are talking about incest. They're talking about one night stands. They're
They're talking about
talking
all kinds
about
of dirty.
selling women, selling men, selling donkeys. Like it is crazy. And all of a sudden, this glamorous diva come up on stage is a big problem. The hypocrisy, I think,
It
is
is ridiculous
rich.
because again, your voice is beautiful. Like I
Thank
cannot
you.
say enough. Like I got chills listening to it, and that does not happen with every voice. Not everybody is capable of
I scared you that much.
bringing emotion to their performance because a lot of people can sing. Anybody can learn how to sing, but not everybody inspires emotion. You have a brilliant gift.
Thank you.
And both your singing and your presentation to me are just bright shining gifts that you possess, and I can't thank you enough for sharing it with the rest of us, whether we deserve it or not, because clearly I'm not sure if we did if people weren't trying to hire you in the opera scene.
Honestly, I don't care if someone thinks that they deserve it or not because I do this because I love what I do. I do this for self pleasure. I think
Very
that's
important.
really important because I think people in the audience can really tell if someone is really enjoying what they're doing up on stage. And I think that's where I guess the chill factor comes in because as an audience member as well, when I see someone who's on stage and is giving their all and is really enjoying what they're doing and their craft and they put the time and effort and money into it,
Mm-hmm.
you know what they're doing. And that's where the chill factor comes in. And I think that's the same. People don't understand how much time and money and effort it takes to be a drag entertainer as
Oh,
well.
I
So,
actually kind of leads me to a question I am deeply curious about.
yeah.
How much was the wig for the semifinals performance? How much was that?
Oh,
It was
I
gorgeous
am not quite sure how much
because
that
that must have
cost.
taken quite a amount of time.
Yeah, I
What
mean,
was that
it's
for?
it's by an amazing UK wig and drag artist called SHAY, and they are truly, if you go look at their page, it's a truly a sculpture work of art. Their
Was it heavy?
brain is it's actually not that heavy. This wig is heavier than
Good.
that wig. That's why I'm
Oh
saying
wow,
it's a
that's
truly
awesome.
of work of art. And I'm pretty sure that that wig cup probably cost a couple of £100, close to like the tail end of the couple of £100.
I can see that because it was gorgeous. So much height, real like
Yeah,
it made you look so statuesquely tall. I don't know how tall you are in actuality, but you look
I'm a
statuesque.
I'm a petite 5'11".
I know many 5'11s, and I'm thank you for being honest that it's 5'11.
Yeah.
You know, too many people who are 5'11 who say, I'm 6 feet. No, you're not. You're 5'11. Why are we having this conversation?
I think the height convo is so ridiculous. It's just like someone will come next to me and be like, "Oh, I'm 5'11". I was like, "No, you're not because I'm 5'11". It's like, "No, you're 6 foot". And I was like, "If I wanted to be 6 foot and I'm 5'11, I would probably say I'm 6 foot, but I'm not. I'm
Exactly.
5'11".
Right.
So
But
to each their own.
yeah, no, the whole effect was just perfect. Like it
Thank
just
you.
added Do you spend a long time deciding your looks for your performances?
Usually, I will try to think ahead to see what kind of impact that I could give on stage. But honestly, when I'm on stage, it's where I get to truly just have fun and express and make my fantasies come true and bring my inner child out again. So honestly,
Mhm.
whatever makes me happy that day, I'm gonna do and wear and perform.
Yes, so awesome. Okay, we're running out of time.
Okay.
So, I could talk to you all day, honestly.
Yeah.
But as we wrap this up, how are you feeling going into the finals for Britain's Got Talent? Look at me.
It is truly a dream come true. I have never thought that this kind of opportunity and honor would come, because I was giving up hope. Like, so many rejections, so many no's, so many doors shut in my face, because not because I was necessarily a drag queen, but even when I was outside of drag auditioning for opera, I was either too feminine, too big, too not westernized enough, because opera is more Western for sure. It's a Western art form. And so many other aspects just being shut in my face. And, people can say whatever about singing, because singing is objective and whatever you like. But I've had worked with A-list singers who are like, you will have a career, sing for my agent, sing for my manager, sing for this company, sing for that company. And so many, every single time I would get a note, it's like, oh, you're too feminine, you're too feminine, you're too feminine, you have to play masculine and whatever, whatnot. And I was like, but I fell in love with her because of the femininity. I fell in love with opera because of the divas and the
Yes.
grand costumes and stuff like that. So that's where I love. So for me to bring all of that rejection and now repackage it into this grand moment when on the biggest stage, one of the biggest stages in the world, and to possibly have an opportunity to perform for the royal family in UK is truly, never thought such a day would come. I mean, I dreamt it, but the dream is becoming a reality. So
So
it
excited.
is, I don't even have the words to describe this moment.
Mhm. And I have to assume you're all prepared and ready for that final performance.
Yeah.
I don't suppose we could get like any hints to what kind of song you're gonna sing. Little hum, little bar.
No, we're still working on it. There are a couple of options that we're throwing around to see, because what people don't understand, it's not just you
Mm.
watching on the screen, it's you. Like, we also have to consider people who are voting, and to really think about, if I do win, what would I do for the royal
Oh,
family?
that's a real
Uh,
good question. Do you
yeah.
have like in the back of your mind that selecting a song that you might choose for that performance? Like,
Oh, for sure. And I think I didn't sign up for it, but I am up for the challenge to really represent the drag community and the LGBTQI plus community that have uplifted me when every other community has shut its doors, to represent them and to show them the appreciation and the gratitude of basically raising me up to be this diva that I am today. So I really want to do them right, and to really showcase all the trailblazers. Like, truly, like, I would not be here if it wasn't for the POC trans women of color who fought for our rights and championed for someone like me to even exist in this day. Like, for the fact that I'm doing this interview or being on BGT, it would have been unimaginable back in the day. So that all has to come into the concoction to really cook and marinate and see what is the best way to go for the finale of BGT.
well, I am definitely, for one, rooting for you. I
Thank
hope you
you.
win. I think you should win, honestly. If it were me. And no, I have not seen all the other contestants. I've seen a couple, but you are by far my favorite. And
Thank you.
again, nobody else had me on my couch crying in the middle of my living room. You know, it's not a thing I do all the time. My family looked at me like I was crazy, but I have not been so moved by somebody's
Oh, thank
performance in
you.
quite some time. And it Simon was correct. There is something special in you. And so again, good vibes, and I hope you win because I feel like you
Thank
deserve
you. Knock on wood. Crossing all the fingers.
all of them and toes if we can.
And toes.
But thank you so much for spending time with us today. It was absolute joy talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on this amazing platform and amplifying my voice, especially like you said, during this crazy time that we are living in. I think it's time for us to really come together as a community and as allies and supporters of just basic human rights and humanity. And for me to amplify this voice on such an amazing platform is truly amazing and such a gift. So thank you so much, Shay.
Again, thank you. Again, big honor this has been. I so enjoy your art form, and I'm so happy for you that you are reaching this many people. And again, hope you win.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. This has been In the Wake TV, guys.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you, Shay.
I had a great time talking to you.